Did you have fun riding on the train today?
Yeah.
Oh, I love riding on trains. The Polar Express is a lot of fun, but this is my favorite train. Was it a little bit bumpy?
Yeah.
Trains can be that way. So is the sleigh. If Rudolph isn't paying attention, I get a pretty bumpy ride. Well, I'd like to know if you have any questions for me. Any of you, or even moms and dads, is there anything you've always wanted to know about the North Pole? Yes.
In the North Pole, is there a ton of reindeer?
Is it what?
In the North Pole, is there a ton of reindeer or a little bit?
Well, there are lots of reindeer running around. You see deer around here sometimes too, don't you? Those are cousins of my reindeer.
A baby deer. I like to see helicopters and dinosaurs a lot.
Me too. But we'll talk about those in a few minutes.
And Khaavren
Do you have
likes
any
T-Rex.
other questions for me about the North Pole?
Khaavren wants to say something. T-Rex.
Sometimes boys and girls like to ask if it's cold at the North Pole.
It is.
Do you remember a day last winter here in Ohio when the snow was deep and it was cold outside?
Yeah.
That's just what it's like at the North Pole. In the summer. In the winter, the wind howls and the snow flies. Oh, it's so cold. Sometimes when you walk outside, you feel like your nose will freeze and fall right off your face. But it's so beautiful that you forget how cold it really is.
How much reindeer do you have?
How many reindeer do I have?
Yes.
Well, let's see. Did you happen to notice these bells hanging from my belt? They're very heavy. These are my reindeer bells. I have one bell here for each of my reindeer. If I wanted to call just one of my reindeer, all I have to do is jingle his bell, and he knows that I'm calling him. And if I wanted all of the reindeer at the same time, I would jingle all of them. But I better be careful. If they heard me, we'd have 8 tiny reindeer and a sleigh right in the middle of this room. You might get run over by a reindeer. I think there's a song like that, isn't there? Can you say the reindeer's names with me? There's Prancer, Dancer, Dasher, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, Rudolph. And the one at the top is for Jesus because it's his birthday that we celebrate at Christmas. Well, yes.
I like butterflies every day, and I like the kitchen.
Butterflies are pretty, aren't they?
And I had a T-Rex. No.
We'll talk more about that in just a little while, okay?
Okay.
One more question? Okay. Well, we talked about the, oh, here's a question. What's it like in the summer at the North Pole? Do you remember what it's like in winter here? It's cold and snowy. That's what summer is like at the North Pole. Do you go swimming in the summer?
No.
I swim every day at the North Pole. Now, when you go swimming, do you swim with polar bears?
No.
No? I swim with polar bears all the time.
Aren't they mean?
Well, they're really fuzzy until they get wet and then they just sort of shrink.
That's so hilarious.
Let's see, we talked about the reindeer, but would you like to see some pictures of my reindeer? see here. Which reindeer is first?
That's Santa.
That's not a reindeer.
That's you. That's you.
This is Comet.
Comet the reindeer. Where's Rudolph with his tail?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see.
Ale masz siedzieć, siadaj, siadaj,
I saw a movie with him.
No, nie, not here, here. Not yet, honey.
That's a good spot. Oh, this is Dasher. Sometimes Dasher gets a little jealous of Rudolph, so I have to pet him a little bit more and tell him he's just as important as Rudolph. Do you ever get a little jealous of your brother or your sister?
Yeah.
I get really jealous.
I have
Let's see, who else do we have? Oh, I'm sure you recognize Prancer, don't you?
You just skip a page.
Prancer loves to, but it's okay. Prancer loves to eat, and if he was here today, there wouldn't be any food left in the food court. Let's see here. Oh, this is Blitzen with his great big antlers. They're huge, aren't they? I think they're taller than I am.
Oh my God.
Now, did you know that Rudolph has a grandpa?
No.
Yeah.
He does. Rudolph's grandpa's name is Randolph.
That's Randolph.
He's very, very old.
That's
Look at his old twisted antlers.
Where's Rudolph?
Sit.
I know you've been waiting for a picture of Rudolph, but it's very hard to get a picture of Rudolph. He loves attention, and when he sees a camera, he starts jumping all around the reindeer barn, and then his nose starts to glow. And in a flash, everything is so bright red that I can't take a picture. But I did get one picture just as his nose was turning red. This is a very special picture. Moms and dads, have you ever seen a picture of Rudolph? Would you like to see him now? Okay. Here's Rudolph. Are you ready?
Patrz, już jest ruda. Zobacz.
Whoa.
Look, Nieniusz.
That's Rudolph.
I can't see.
Would you sit down, please? A second later, it was so bright red, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't take another picture. But at least you got to see Rudolph a little bit. Yes.
Are you a real Santa?
Well, that's a very good question. You know that Santa has a lot of helpers, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that the real Santa will never tell you that he's the real Santa. But when you talk to the real Santa,
Nice
you'll feel Christmas in your heart. Well, let's see. Can you think of anyone else who lives at the North Pole with Mrs. Claus and the reindeer and me?
The elves?
The elves, yes. Would you like to know how many elves I have at the North Pole? So would I. Every time I line them up to count them, I start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and those silly elves jump up and run to the other side of the room. They trade hats, they do flips. I can't count them because they won't stay still. So I don't know how many elves I have, but there are a lot of elves at the North Pole.
Do they have long ears?
They do, yes.
Sit.
Mommy!
Yes.
Why does Rudolph start jumping around when you try to take the picture?
Oh, he just loves all of the attention. Every time you sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or watch the movie, or read the story, his nose gets a little brighter.
Ah! Oh.
Well, You know that the elves help me make toys at the North Pole, right?
Yeah.
And these are the keys that open the workshops where we make the toys. Pretty happy. Let's see. Would you stand up? Would you hold up this key? Can you hold it up real high?
Hold it up high.
Now, show it to mommy. That key opens the workshop where we make all of the dolls. Who's your favorite doll? Yes. Well, we make American Girl doll and Barbie and Elsa and Anna, all of the princesses. Guys. We make the action figures in this workshop too. Ninja Turtles, Transformers, Batman, they're all from this workshop.
Batman figure too.
Let's see here. Will you hold up this? Okay. Now turn around and show it to Mom and Dad. That opens the workshop where we make everything that goes. We make cars and trucks and trains and planes and boats and helicopters. Everything.
You got a train.
And did you know that after the elves make the toys, they play with them? If you got a car or truck for Christmas, make sure you check the fenders for dents and scratches.
And I.
Thank you. Let's see. This one up. Show it to Mom and Dad. That key opens the workshop where we make all of the video games.
I love video games. I play with.
I'm sorry.
Who likes to play with Lego?
You can sit, but you can only sit next to me.
This key opens the workshop where we make all of the Lego. And remember, the elves like to play with the toys after they make them. So they start by building a little thing with Legos, and then add more to that, and more, and more, until it reaches the top of the biggest workshop at the North Pole. Next,
All the way to the sky.
they knock them down. Legos go everywhere. When you play with toys, do you pick up every last thing when you're finished playing? I hope so. The elves are terrible about that. Wait, I have an idea. I'm going to tell the elves that all of you pick up your toys when you're finished playing, so the elves should pick up their toys too. Isn't that a good idea? Yes. But now you have to do me a favor. You have to pick up the toys in your room and keep your rooms clean because the elves will be watching. Okay? Can you do that for me? Okay. Mom and Dad will help you remember. There's one more little bitty key on here. Would you hold up this key? Show it to Mom and Dad. That is my favorite key on the whole ring. That key opens the kitchen where we keep all of my cookies and hot cocoa. Do you know what my favorite food is? Cookies. Yes.
And we make cookies for you.
I eat cookies all the time, but I do have oatmeal for breakfast. Oatmeal cookies.
Oatmeal cookies. Oh,
Have a seat, please.
Annie, have a seat.
You sit down right here. Have a seat
Annie,
right
sit
there.
down.
Right on the floor. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. I think we should sing a Christmas carol. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Story.
Okay, everyone stand up and come close to me.
Hello, I took the board.
Tallest one's close to me. Now turn around and face Mom and Dad. A little closer to me. 'Cause you're pretty tall. Okay. All right. Come close. Now, moms and dads, we may need your help
You want
with
us to
this.
stand up? You could.
We're going to sing up on the housetop with the hand motions. Can you help us? Okay. Are you ready?
Can you stand up and
Up on the housetop, reindeer paws. Out
This way, honey.
jumps dear old Santa Claus. Down through the chimney with lots of toys. All for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Ho, 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 who wouldn't go? Up on the housetop, click, click, click. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. Oh, ho, ho,
Nice.
You all sing very well. Okay, have a seat in front of me again. Yes. Yes.
Are you watching about watching about
Well,
you?
I'd
Dad.
like to read a story to
Watching
you now.
about.
But first, I want to tell you that on Christmas Eve, I'm going to get all of your presents together and load them into my sleigh. And then I'll have one elf helping me in the sleigh, and I'll take off all the way around the world, delivering all of your presents and presents to all the good boys and girls everywhere. And once I'm gone, Mrs. Claus is going to call all of the elves together at our house at the North Pole, and she'll sit them all down just like you are right now in front of a great big fireplace. She's going to make cookies for them and hot cocoa. They'll drink their hot cocoa from their little elf mugs. And that's what elves do. Well, after Mrs. Claus gets all of the elves settled, she's going to reach up on the mantle over the fireplace and pick up this very same book. And she'll read this story to the elves on Christmas Eve, as she always does. Are you ready? 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. Mamma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. And what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick.
Khaavren.
He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all dirty with ashes and soot. I get very dirty in those chimneys.
Sit down.
No, jump
He spoke
down.
not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, say it with me, everyone, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
You all enjoy the story and all the questions and the singing. You guys are wonderful. But I bet all of you would just like to tell Santa what you want for Christmas. So what we're going to do is we're all going to stand up. And you're going to go find Mom, Dad. And then you're going to get in a line back there.